activities, starting from the understanding the customer requirement, solution design, product presentation, demos, POCs. So all those pre-sales activities that I take care of. Now, let's start with today's session. So the agenda for this today's session is to have an overview of the Sophos product portfolio, the key challenges in terms of cybersecurity, and how Sophos can help with the help of different product lines that Sophos has. And along with that, we do have a few services as well to make sure the customer infrastructure is protected. Okay, so without further delay, let's start. This is a brief introduction about Sophos. We are into cybersecurity domain, so we have got multiple products and services related to only cybersecurity. Okay, and we are protecting more than 6 lakh customers globally with the help of our different products, out of which there are 22,000 plus customers who are using Sophos MDR services. So these are the customers who are being whose cybersecurity infrastructure is being managed by Sophos. Okay, we'll talk about MDR as well in detail. And then for this session, the key product which we are going to talk about is Sophos email security. Okay. Obviously, we will have the overview of the entire bucket list of the Sophos, but then we'll specifically talk about email security in detail. Okay. So let's start with the threat landscape. If you ask me, or if you ask anyone from the cybersecurity domain, the top challenges for any organization, the topmost and the most discussed word is obviously ransomware. Wherein attacker tries to get the access of your system server and then encrypt your data and ask for a ransom, right, in the return. So this is the very common and the most targeted attack, right? And then there are other types of attacks as well. So these are the 4 key types of attacks which most of the organizations are facing. Ransomware, data and credential theft. So sometimes attackers, what they try to do is they try to steal the critical data, business critical data from your server systems, right? And credential theft is also one of the important aspects wherein attacker tries to get the credentials of the user so that it can do further damage. Imagine if one of your system is compromised, any normal laptop desktop system, you may consider it as a normal system wherein you don't have much of the critical data stored. But what if the user has stored his credentials in maybe in any file or even in the browser? A lot of people has this habit to store the credentials in browser as well, right? Just save password so that they don't have to enter the password again and again. And if in case attacker succeeds to steal those credentials, then he can use those credentials to do the further damage, right? He can actually access your servers, your internal resources, like a genuine user, right? So these are the very topmost types of threats. Then malicious driver, wherein the vulnerable applications, operating systems. That is again one of the key challenge, and that's the reason why every organization keeps on patching these systems, patching OS applications on regular basis, right? So, and last one is unmanaged devices, wherein unmanaged devices is like the devices where you can't install any kind of protection agent. Okay, like the systems like your Windows server or Mac OS, Linux. These are the systems on which you can install something. You can install a protection agent and you can protect those systems. But the unmanaged devices like your network printers, NVR, then thumbprint devices, or any IoT related devices, you really can't install any agent on it, right? So to protect those devices is again a key challenge, right? So these are the key challenges. Obviously, everyone installs and deploys the best of the best products to make sure they are secured from these threats. But still, after deploying most of these products, still organizations are getting breached. So we'll try to understand what is the reason behind why organizations are getting breached. For this, let's understand the key pillars, okay, the three fundamentals of cybersecurity. The first one, I would like to start with technology, okay. So technology means the tools, the products, the cybersecurity products like your, for network security, you might have firewall, secured access point, ZTNA. Then for, endpoint security side, you might have endpoint protection, DLP, encryption, email protection, cloud protection. There could be different, security products. The list may goes on for different customers depending on your requirement. But then the first point is about product, right? You have to install best of the best products, and it's not only about purchasing the product and deploying it. It's also about how you maintain it, right? How you manage those products. For that, you have to set a process. So let's say you have a security products like firewall, endpoint, or email protection. Then how do you configure it? What are the best practices you use? Then how often you're monitoring it? Okay, obviously all these products are going to generate some logs, events. So you have to set a process how to monitor it and how to respond to those alerts and events. And for that, obviously you need people. So people means not only a simple manpower, but a skilled manpower, right? So earlier we used to see that a normal IT guy also takes care of security products, but nowadays with the targeted attacks, it is very difficult for a single person to manage multiple products. Like if he is from the normal IT background or networking background, it's not the case that he would be able to handle the security products with best of its effect, right? So that's why you need a skilled people to manage security products, wherein the people like security analyst, malware analyst comes into play. So, and there's a very shortage of such people, such talent. The data says, as per the survey, that globally there's a 4 million shortage of cybersecurity practitioners, the people who are certified and having a good skill sets on cybersecurity. So, and we all will agree to it that even with uh, in India as well, we have a much of the shortage of cybersecurity people, right? And again, there's one more aspect to it. Even if you have these kind of people available with you, the availability of such people 24/7, right? So if you want to have the security guy to be available 24/7 to monitor and to respond to threats, then obviously you will require at least 4 to 5 people, right, to manage them in different shifts on weekends as well. And then uh, there's one more challenge when it comes to people is the how do you retain those talent, right? That's again a key challenge. So that is about people. Second thing, the process, and uh, the data says that 66% of the organizations were victim of ransomware last year. Okay, and these numbers definitely do not surprise any one of us. Nowadays, a lot of organizations are getting breached with ransomware. Not only ransomware, but even with different attacks as well, like uh, crypto mining, credential theft. There are different types of attack, but ransomware is something a more sophisticated attack. So yeah, this is a global number wherein 66% of the organizations were hit by the ransomware. And when it comes to technology, that means the security products, almost 95% of the organizations find it very difficult or challenging to investigate and respond to security alerts. So having best of the best products is really good, but then if you are not able to manage it effectively, then obviously there is a gap, right? uh, as they say, if there is a misconfiguration, then that obviously it's a loophole, and that could become a entry point for attacker, right? So that's where nowadays products are also becoming complex because of the nature of attacks, right? So nowadays everyone talks about AI, ML, deep learning, all those technologies, but obviously the more and more protection you will have with these products, obviously the products becomes complex in nature, right? And that's where the organizations are facing challenges to manage all these different products, right? And to investigate and respond to those threats or alerts. So these are the challenges. Now, how Sophos can help to mitigate these challenges. So we have got an entire bucket list of cybersecurity products. Basically, these are grouped into 5 different categories. I will start with endpoint protection first. So when it comes to endpoint security or the end user security, we have got endpoint protection to protect your Windows client OS and Mac OS, right? Second one is server protection to protect your Windows Server OS and the Linux platforms. Okay. Next one is mobile protection. Nowadays, most of us, or I would say almost every user, is having the email and all those internal applications also using on mobile devices. Now, if user is using his personal mobile to access the corporate data, then obviously for attackers this is also one of the entry point. So you need to make sure that those mobile devices are also secured, right? Now, like in my case, I'm also using my email and all the other Salesforce, all those applications on my personal mobile, but that is secured with Sophos MDM. So uh, basically, wherever your data is being handled, okay, on whatever devices you're handling your data, those devices has to be secured, right? Last one is about encryption, wherein if you have a user set who is carrying the office provided laptops with them, and those devices obviously has the business critical data, right? uh, Now here with encryption we are talking about DLP, data loss prevention, just in case unfortunately if any device gets lost or stolen, and then obviously we can't get that device back, but at least as a compliance we have to make sure that the data in that device should not get compromised. That's where Sophos encryption can help. It will simply encrypt your entire hard drive, uh, and without encryption passphrase no one can access the hard drive data. So only genuine user can access it because he only will have his encryption passphrase. Uh, if the device has been lost, then no third party user will be able to access the data. That is again one more important compliance point. Coming to network security part, we do have Sophos firewall in the form of hardware, virtual, and on cloud. Okay, so there are different hardware models available to protect your perimeter security. Okay, to protect your network from the external threats as well as from internal threats. So it's a next generation firewall which provides you IPS, application filter, content filter, zero-day protection, authentication, all those next generation firewall capabilities. And it can be deployed as a hardware. It can be deployed as a virtual firewall as well on ESXi or Hyper-V, and it can be also deployed on cloud. Okay. Then next one is Sophos firewall by default has the SD-WAN also integrated in it. So if you have multiple branches connecting to your data center or to the cloud, then we can have, we can simply deploy Sophos firewall at each location and then use the SD-WAN functionalities, which is by default available in the firewall. You don't have to pay anything extra to use SD-WAN. Okay. In the base license itself, the SD-WAN is included. If you have got remote users, okay, post-COVID, most of the organizations are still having remote workforce, right? So if you have got the few of the users connecting remotely to your corporate network, then you can use Sophos ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, to connect those remote users to your corporate network with a proper authentication and a compliance check, wherein end user system health check will be validated. If the system is healthy, then only he can access the internal resources. Okay. Then Sophos switches and access points are there, wherein we do have L2 switches, again managed from the same console. So beauty of Sophos is all those products which I'm talking about can be managed through one single console. Okay, so for admin, for a customer, it becomes very easy, right, to manage the entire show from one single console. So all the configuration, licensing, log correlation, everything is at one console. Same goes with access point as well. We do have Wi-Fi 6 access points, again managed through that same console. Okay, so the Sophos Central is free of cost, available for everyone since it's on cloud. So you don't have to invest anything for hardware, right? You just purchase the appropriate license and apply it in Central Console. It's completely a SaaS model, right? Coming to the next part, that is cloud security, my favorite one. So we do have, if you're using any cloud infrastructure like AWS, Azure, GCP, then to protect that cloud infrastructure, you can use Sophos Cloud Firewall to act as a perimeter security. So we have got Sophos Firewall available in the cloud marketplace, like AWS marketplace and Azure marketplace. Second thing, for all those assets which you spin up in the cloud, like EC2 instances or virtual machines, you can install the same endpoint and server protection agent on those systems as well, right, to protect those assets. And to get the cloud visibility and the compliance, we can have cloud security posture management as well. So all those protection products are covered under cloud security. Next one is email security, which is our today's topic. So email communication is still one of the most used communication in corporate. Although nowadays we have business WhatsApp, we have Microsoft Teams, Skype, multiple modes of communication, right? But still, email is the most used email communication method. And unfortunately, email is the one which is the most used entry point by the attacker as well. And that's why we keep a lot of users are complaining about phishing, spam mails, right? Or even the malwares, zero-day threats coming in from email communication, right? So that's where we do have Sophos Central Email Security. If you're using on-prem Exchange server or cloud email solution like O365, G Suite, then we have got Sophos Central Email Security to protect entire email communication. Okay? We'll talk about it in detail. And along with email protection, we have got end user awareness campaign as well. And a fake phishing campaign can be run, and we'll simply target few of the users, will send them few spam mails, a dummy spam mail, and then we'll see how they respond to those mails. Okay, based on that, we'll get the data that which users are able to identify that this looks fishy, and which are getting caught to those phishing campaign. If users are directly submitting their personal details, or they're directly clicking on the link without even checking whether it's HTTPS or HTTP, whether something looks fishy. So based on that, you will get to know out of my, let's say, 100 users, how many are the vulnerable users for me, right? So this is what email fish threat will help you. And lastly, the services component. So on top of all these products, we have got services wherein we cover Sophos MDR, managed detection and response. So it's a service which wherein Sophos MDR team proactively monitors the customer central console, and they will look for the suspicious activities. They will look for any kind of threats. Obviously, products are there to protect the endpoint, server, firewall. All those products are there, but still, if you want to have more and more protection plus the proactive threat hunting, then Sophos MDR team can be helpful. And basically, it's a 24/7 service. So the most important aspect here is, if you see the recent attack pattern, mostly targeted attacks gets executed on weekend, right? Because for attackers, it's the best time to execute the attack, because chances of having IT team or security team available in the office to respond to those alerts are very less, right? And that's why we see the attack got executed on Saturday early morning, Sunday early morning. The reason is very simple. Chances of having you available in the office, or having a proactive monitoring, are very less, and that's the reason why MDR comes into play, wherein suppose MDR 24/7 proactively monitors plus does the threat hunting, and if they observe anything suspicious, they will take the action on behalf of you. So it's a fully managed service, right? And then there are other services as well, like managed risk, which we have recently launched. It's all about doing the vulnerability scanning for your externally facing assets. Okay. Right. So these are some services. The best part is all these products, services, whatever MDR team has investigated, all those things you can see at one single console. Okay. Okay. In between, if you have any questions, you can use the chat panel or Q&A panel as well. And at the end of the session, we'll discuss all those queries. Now, let's see where these products fit. Okay. This is a typical network diagram for any organization. It may vary for everyone depending on the setup, but then this is a sample network diagram wherein a customer has a fixed perimeter in the form of head office. Okay, wherein he has few endpoints and servers, access points, switches, all those network components. To protect this head office network, we have got Sophos firewall deployed as a hardware. Okay, then he has got multiple branches. So to connect those branches securely to the HO network, we have deployed some of the Sophos entry-level firewall at those branch locations. And even if there are some small branches like 5 to 10 users or 20 users, then for those branches we can use Sophos SD-RED, which is again a beautiful solution to connect your branches to the HO location. If there are any remote branches wherein you don't have technical skill set, okay, so you just purchase these RAID devices and dispatch it to the branch. From the admin sitting at HO can configure those RAID devices from a single location itself. You don't have to use send any technical person at the branch. So that's the beauty of the SD-RAID. Basically, it's all about implementing the entire SD-WAN setup. Okay, you can use all those multiple links, MPLS, VPN, or point-to-point. All those links you can use in the SD-WAN. Next one is endpoint protection, wherein we can install the endpoint agent on your Windows client OS and Mac OS platforms. if you have the cloud infrastructure, then we can deploy Sophos Cloud Firewall to protect the cloud infra. If you have got servers deployed on the cloud, then we'll use server protection, server workload protection, right? Then for email communication, like if the customer is using O365, this customer is using O365 as an email solution, then we'll simply use Sophos email security, central email security to protect his email communication. Okay. And for remote users, we'll use ZTNA. So this diagram typically explains you where all these products fits. Okay. Now let's talk about Sophos email security. Okay. When we talk about email, as I said, it's the most used communication platform, and unfortunately, it's the platform which is being used by cyber, attackers as well, and that's the reason why more than 90% of the attacks, are are happening only through phishing emails, right? So that's a very huge number because if you logically see, I mean, to to deploy the payload or on an attack on any organization, let's say, for example, I'm an attacker and I want to deploy a payload on any one of the target. Okay, so obviously I can't physically visit that location. So what I will try to do is, I will, with the social engineering, I will try to get any email. I will try to find out the domain, and then I'll randomly target those email IDs and domains just to get the entry point. And if I'm lucky enough and user is not aware about the cybersecurity basics, he's failed to identify phishing mail, then once he clicks on it, I can get the entry point. That's how attacker gets the entry, right? And unfortunately, if you see the few of the statistics from the survey, the business email compromise, okay, which we are talking about, the corporate or the business email communication, once it is compromised, this kind of we simply say it as a business email compromise for these kind of attacks. And globally, the loss happened due to business email compromise last year in 2023 was 2.9 billion US dollar. That's a huge number. It's a global number, by the way. So now you can understand why it is important to protect the email communication, right? Because whenever I discuss with any customer or anyone, most probably people talk about protecting the network, protecting the endpoints. So firewall and endpoint are the most discussed topics. But unfortunately, if you see these statistics and values, now we can understand that protecting the email communication should be the topmost priority, right? So because of these numbers, the loss happened only due to business email compromise is 2.9 billion. That's a huge number, right? So how Sophos can help? As I said, the Sophos central email solution, it's again on cloud, so you don't have to use any kind of on-prem management server or any hardware to deploy this solution. You just purchase the license, which is based on per mailbox. Okay, a simple license, single SKU, central email advance is the simple SKU, and the licensing is also very simple, irrespective of how many domains you have or where your email solution is hosted. It doesn't matter. We simply charge the licenses based on per mailbox. That's it. Okay. And obviously, it has got all those feature sets like AI, ML, zero-day protection, email encryption, email DLP, anti-spam. All those features are included. And the email solution, which is offered by Sophos, is used by 22,000 plus customers globally. So Talking about the features and functionalities, so as I said, it does protect your email communication from anti-spam, malware protection. So if any email is having a threat score of, there's a spam score basically. If the mail looks like a spam, then obviously Sophos email will block that mail at the Sophos central email solution itself. Basically, it will, as of now, your email communication, if you do not have any email security, then let's say if I send a mail to Rohan, then it will go to O365 first, and then O365 will in turn share it to Rohan's mailbox, right? Forward it to Rohan's mailbox. Now, after implementing Sophos Central Email Security, how it will happen is the email will first hit to Sophos Central Email Security. Email security will scan those mails from all those security engines. If it is a genuine mail, then on and it do not contain any kind of malicious payloads, then only it will be forwarded to O365 and then in turn to the end user mailbox. So that's how it will work. Okay. In short, we're just adding one more hope for a protection. Okay. And the policy configuration is also very simple. It does have all those protection like DKIM, DMARC. I will not talk about all those technical stuff over here. If you are interested, if you have a, if you want to see how exactly email security works, then, we can have a separate discussion on all those technical stuff. But I'm just giving a high level idea what Sophos Central Email Security can cover. So we can, basically it protects your email communication from all sort of threats: spam, phishing, malware, trojans, zero-day threats. And on top of it, it also provides the two important features, which is email encryption and email DLP, wherein you can encrypt the business critical email. Let's say a mail containing either mail body or attachment contains few specific keywords, then you can apply encryption policy on that as well, so that the critical data, whenever user is sending outside the domain or even inside the domain, uh, the mail body as well as attachment will be encrypted. Okay, so that's again one more compliance point. And second thing is email DLP, wherein you can restrict the users from sending few business critical data like for example, personal identity information or credit card information, healthcare information, depending on the depending on the domain which you are in. So for all sort of those compliances, we do have predefined templates available, DLP templates, and you can customize your own templates as well. You just prepare your custom, content list, and if the file contains those keywords or mail body contains those keywords, then user will not be able to leak that data outside the domain, right? So those are two important factors. Plus, as I talked about MDR services like managed detection and response. So wherein Sophos protects and Sophos proactively monitors the your central console logs. Now, if you have Sophos email protection along with MDR services, basically MDR team can proactively monitor the email logs, and they can do the manual, most of the manual activities. Let's say if this say if they have observed something suspicious on one endpoint or on one server, okay, and with email logs, it is being relevant that the malware communication was done through email, then MDR team can manually get that, remove that particular mail from the end user mailbox as well. Let's say user has received one mail, and there's something suspicious in that mail, okay, but due to some exclusions set by the admin, obviously if it would have been configured properly, then obviously email protection will make sure that that malicious mail do not hit the end user mailbox. But just in case, due to some business use case or due to some reason, someone has put some exclusion, and consider a case where malware has reached through the mailbox to the end user system. Now MDR team can proactively roll back, get that mail out of that user's mailbox as well, and again do the further investigation. They can block some suspicious senders, receivers, domains, all those things they can do with the help of managed services. So that's a advantage with having Sophos email security along with MDR services. If you do not have MDR services, that is also good enough. Then also email protection will still do its job, but the proactive monitoring and threat hunting is something if you want Sophos to do, then MDR can be helpful. Okay. And yes, these are the few recent innovations or recent features which we have added, like QR code phishing protection. If user receives a mail which contains particular QR code, and nowadays this is also one of the way used by attackers to send the malicious QR code. And if user scans that QR code, it will redirect him to a malicious web server, and where they can get the entry point from there. So these are the kind of attacks which Sophos email protection can protect. Okay, like QR code protection, on-demand clawback, which I talked about. Right, even you as admin can also proactively roll back or claw back few of the mails from the end user mailbox as well. If you want to investigate further that user has received a particular mail, or not even not only about the malicious mails, but even let's say user has received one particular mail which contains some sensitive information, then you can do the clawback for that mail as well. Okay. Then country of origin protection, wherein we can simply block particular geographic locations. Okay, let's say you are into a business where you generally you do not expect a mail to be coming from or to be sent out to a particular country, right? You really do not have that kind of business, that you do not deal with a particular region, geographic region. Then you can proactively block those regions as well. And obviously report scheduling. So all those logs and reports generated by the email security can be scheduled, right? So that you get the high level idea that in last week or last month, how many mails email protection has blocked, how many were blocked by 0-day protection. All those detailed reporting can be available. Talking about the industry recognition, so obviously don't go by my words. Even the third party organizations like who does the analysis for email protection. Okay, so we are into a market champion. We're rated as a market leader and market champion by these third party organizations. And obviously they have evaluated the Sophos email security as well as our other competition products as well. So we are into leader for the email security. Same goes with this one more organization called as VB spam test. Okay, so this is a particular test conducted only for email protection solutions, wherein Sophos was the only solution to block all the malware and phishing samples. And obviously the report is available for 2024. Okay. So yeah, that's it from my side. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask, or we can have a look at the Q&A panel as well. Amita, do we have any questions?
Yes, there are a couple of questions in Q&A panel.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Paresh is asking for Sophos product list.
Okay, I think I have covered it. The entire
Yeah.
product list of Sophos, starting from network security, endpoint, cloud, email protection, and services as well. So, anyways, I will share a link for the a product list of Sophos, where you can get the complete list of all the Sophos products. Okay.
Great. And there are multiple questions from Mr. Nitesh
Mhm.
Vishal. So first question is, how do firewall enroll with Sophos Central and monitor both endpoints and network security?
Okay, so if you have Sophos firewall, as I said, you can manage all the firewalls from one single console, right? So you can simply register the Sophos firewall in the Sophos central console. The central management for all Sophos firewalls is free of cost. Okay, it's free of cost available. We don't charge anything for management. There's a simple configuration, like you just have to enter the central credentials in your firewall, and then it will be added in the Sophos central console. So you will see the firewall added in your central console. You can access all those. If you have single firewall or multiple firewalls, you can access all those firewalls with single sign-on from the central itself. And then you can monitor your firewall plus endpoint, all those products in one single console, in the central console. I hope this answers your query.
Okay, so Michelle, next question is how to provide firewall access to only limited segment and subnet.
Okay, so this is again one a configuration point. It's part of hardening. Okay, firewall hardening, wherein you can use local ACL option available in the firewall. If you go to Sophos firewall dashboard and go to device access menu, there you will see local access, wherein you can select the particular subnet or IP range or single IP as well. And from there only, you will allow the firewall access. So in your LAN network, you will not expose your firewall access to the entire LAN network. You can specify this subnet, IP range, or even a single IP. So local ACL is the option.
Hope this answers your question, Mr. Nitesh. You can confirm us through chat box. Another question from him is port mapping on IP forwarding option not available in Sophos firewall.
It does. Sophos firewall does have this port forwarding option. If you have any internal resources which you need to expose the ports to the external network, like for the remote users. If you take an example, if you have a web server and you want to open the ports, then you can definitely do with the help of DNAT policy. Although it's not recommended, I personally do not recommend opening any kind of port for any server. If you want to provide the access to the external users, kindly use VPN. Okay, either remote VPN or ZTNA can be used. uh, until and unless if there is a need that VPN or ZTNA is not suitable, then only you can go ahead with port forward, but ideally do not recommend it. But yes, to answer your question, the feature is available.
Okay, so next question for you, Vishal, is SSO login requirement for VPN, how to use?
Okay, so SSO, single sign-on, if you have AD or LDAP integrated with firewall, you can use the same AD credentials for VPN access as well, VPN login access as well. and the SSO is also possible. So it's similar. How you do SSO for your internal or LAN users? Similarly, SSO is can be applicable for VPN users as well. The only requirement is your AD server should be reachable. Okay, to that particular VPN network. If it is reachable, then definitely SSO is possible. All these are configuration points. What I suggest is you can get in touch with Inception team, the technical team who does this implement configuration part for you. They can help you for all these kind of configurations.
Yeah, right, Vishal. Mr. Nitesh Gadge, we will get in, our technical team will get in touch with you. Maybe we'll have a detailed discussion on the configurations which is required, and we'll definitely help you with all your questions and resolve all that. Right, sir? Okay, so I think then there's one more question from Mr. Paresh, which is it possible integrating surveillance product or biometric product with the security product?
Okay, integration. Ideally, no, because uh, I mean, this is very a generic question. Integration with biometric is not possible, but what we can do is with Sophos NDR, network detection and response, we can actually collect the logs from generated from those surveillance devices or biometric devices. As I said, where we can't install any protection agent, right? Like biometric printer or security surveillance devices. Uh, for those devices, we can use Sophos NDR, which will basically look for the suspicious or malicious traffic generated from those devices, and then the same events collected from those network activities generated from these devices will be shared with Sophos MDR, and MDR team will take the action for those devices. Obviously, we can't install anything, so we can't take any action on those devices remotely, but at least we'll be able to identify the traffic generated from those devices, and then you can actually take the necessary action. I will give an example for this. Recently, there was one printer vulnerability detected. So obviously, no one can install any endpoint on the printer. Attackers simply exploited that vulnerability, and through that, they get the entry point. So if you have Sophos NDR in place, network detection and response, then we can proactively monitor that traffic generated from that printer, from that CCTV or thumbprint device. And if we see any vulnerability, we can then go and patch that particular loophole, right? So yeah, NDR, network detection and response, is the best product for this question.
Right, Mr. Ritesh Mandal would like to ask this question. Is it possible to implement zero trust in on-premise infrastructure?
Yes, definitely. It is possible. So zero trust is it's not a product. I would say it's a philosophy, or it's a concept wherein you don't trust any user, you don't trust any device. Okay. And it's like trust nothing and verify everything, right? Uh, just because the system belongs to my company doesn't mean that particular system is a secured one, or that system is always healthy, right? There could be few suspicious activities or payloads available in the end, on that endpoint, and let's say if users are carrying their devices along with them for while working from home, or even they are working in office, still we can't trust anyone just because it's part of my perimeter. Okay, and we blindly provide the access to the entire network or to their DMZ servers. It so zero trust is something you have to validate the user with the help of authentication. Obviously, you need authentication services like Azure AD or on-prem AD or Okta, right? So you authenticate the device, and plus second thing, you validate the device health status. So for that, if you have Sophos endpoint in place, then we will validate the device health status, whether the device is healthy or not. If the device is not healthy, if some services are missing, some malware is detected, or even some PUA is detected, we will immediately block the access to that user. And it's a dynamic one. You don't have to manually change anything. Once you set the rule that only healthy status systems are permitted to access my application, then depending on the health status, ZTNA will provide the access. So yes, suppose ZTNA is applicable for your remote workforce, is applicable for your internal on-premise workforce, plus it is also applicable for your cloud applications as well. So you can deploy ZTNA for all those infrastructure. And best part is Sophos Firewall can act as a ZTNA gateway. So if you have Sophos Firewall and endpoint installed, then you don't have to install anything extra. For end user, endpoint protection is the same agent which will carry my ZTNA functionalities. And for on-premise network, the Sophos Firewall will act as a ZTNA gateway.
Right. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Ritesh. Okay. So any other questions? Yeah, there is one more question from Mr. Ashish Kurane. It says, what is the benefit of using Sophos AP instead of Cisco or Aruba?
Okay, so I would say Sophos AP or Cisco, Aruba, all those, the basic use is simple for all those APs, right? To provide a wireless connectivity or Wi-Fi connectivity. But then we talk about secured access point. It's not a simple access point just for the Wi-Fi connection. We talk about security as well, wherein Sophos access points does provide the synchronized security along with other Sophos products. Let's say, for example, if you have a firewall, maybe from Sophos or any third-party firewall, and you have got Cisco or Aruba access point or any other third-party access point. Just in case, let's say for one AP, you have connected 10 Wi-Fi users, and out of which one endpoint is infected. Okay, maybe some malware detected on that endpoint. Now, obviously, endpoint will take some time to neutralize that threat, to clean that threat from the system. The time could be in seconds, milliseconds, but believe me, that time is also good enough for malware to spread laterally across the other wireless network. So if one endpoint is infected, it can infect other endpoints as well, because the wireless or LAN connection is established. Okay, so basically that trust is established. Again, I will relate it to zero trust concept. If you have got those other access points, then the trust is basically established within all those devices which are connected to the access point. Now, if you compare the same scenario with Sophos access points and Sophos endpoint, we do have synchronous security as a concept, wherein, let's say, out of those 10 endpoints, 10 Wi-Fi connected endpoints, one endpoint is infected. My endpoint has detected the malware. Now, till the time that malware is getting cleaned up, immediately endpoint will send the heartbeat status to Sophos access point, wherein access point will automatically block the communication for that particular one infected endpoint. That's the security automation which we do provide. And that's the basic difference in between other access points and Sophos, because we talk about secured wireless connectivity, not the just wireless connectivity. And other benefits are like central management. You can manage all those access points from central console. Okay, there are different feature sets available, but the key difference which I would like to highlight is all about synchronous security.
Right. So hope that answers your question, Mr. Ashish. There's one question from Mr. Sagar. What is the minimum and maximum life cycle of Sophos firewall?
Okay, so again, it depends on exactly which model you are talking about or which series you are talking about. As of now, we have two hardware series available. One is XG, which is declared as end of life. So the last date for XG series hardware is 31st March 2025. So if in case any one of you has the Sophos XG series firewall, just make a note that it is being end of life, and now the latest series available is XGS. Okay, so there are different models available with XGS series. Basically, the entire XGS series is the current running one. We haven't declared any end of sale or end of life for that particular series. This is something we are continuing, and the life cycle life cycle process defined for the entire hardware series is not only for firewall, even it is applicable for switches, access point, all the hardware components from Sophos. Whenever we declare any product as end of sale, okay, as I said, we haven't declared end of sale for XGS, but let's say in coming 3, 4, 5, whatever years, the day we declare any product as end of sale, after that we have a end of life phase, uh, at least for 5 years. So let's say we declare any product as end of sale for today, then we will have its end of life date after 5 years. So we give the customers that particular period just to to keep that particular hardware running, and then after 5 years he can upgrade to the next available hardware series. So basically, life cycle works in such a way: 5 years after the declaration of end of sale.
Right. Right. Any other questions? Okay, so I think there are no other questions. So what we can do is we will be doing this Kahoot quiz very soon. Before that, I'll just have a couple of slides. I actually had a plan to do a 5-minute session, but I don't think that is possible now. So I'll just wrap it up in 1 or 2 minutes. So this is what we offer. You can see it on your screens. Inception solution offerings on all the Sophos product line. So what we do is we consult. By consult, I mean is we understand the environment of the customer, what they're using currently, what kind of security needs are there, okay, and what is the best practice, what needs to be done, and then we recommend the best products out of it. And based on your confirmation how to implement that, we configure, implement the particular products, whether it's a firewall, endpoint, XDR, or any email security, data protection, those kind of products, and continue to support it, okay, throughout. So basically, when Vishal talked about people, technology, and process, okay, which is very valid, because we definitely buy technology and we put in a process, but people is a big question, because what all an IT manager can do, right? It's very difficult to take care of all the aspects, and that is where partners like us come into picture. So Inception Solution is a silver partner of Sophos. Okay, can you just change the slide, Vishal?
Yeah.
So, so when we say that we are a silver partner, that means it is required. Obviously, there's a revenue benchmark as well, but more than that, it is that we need to have a trained and skilled technical team uh, at uh, at our premises. So we have people who are trained, and we will be able to implement, configure the products correctly for you. Okay, so that all the benefits of the particular technology which you're using, you'll be able to use them. Like if you are using a firewall, entire policies can be implemented to the T, so that you don't get any kind of attacks. And similarly for other products as well. So needless to say, we are a complete system integrator. So we do hardware like Dell, HP, server storages, software, Microsoft Office 365, Adobe, and networking, active, passive, both. Okay, security, we just said about that. We are also into cloud. with AWS and Azure. So these are the various products which we cater to. Okay, and our focus is with customers like you who are focused on end-to-end security. So it's just not about a particular antivirus endpoint protection, or it's not about just a firewall protection. We intend to, when we give service, we intend to cover everything so that your organization and we both take care of the security of organizations. So that's how it is. Our commitment is to be the security partner for companies like you. With that, I think we end the session, and Vishal, you can take over for the Kahoot quiz. These are my contacts. You can definitely take it down, and you can send me an email for any kind of queries you have, any questions, and you have my numbers as well. You can call me anytime. Okay, before that, there's a question from Mr. Paresh. We have purchased Sophos license and product. We want authorized certificates.
Certificates, do you mean you want to have a Sophos administrator certificate or engineer certificate or architect, that kind of certificate? I mean, we do have Sophos product certificates as well for partners as well as for customers. As Suraj mentioned, their entire technical team is certified on Sophos products. Similarly, for end customers as well, we can have, if you have few people who wants to get certified on Sophos products, we can definitely give the Sophos certifications as well, wherein a particular person has to go through the engineer or architect courses. Okay, there are different modes available: instructor-led training or self-learning, and then you can appear for the exam.
Okay,
which will give
Vishal,
you-
I would like to break. What
Yes.
he's asking for is he wants the partnership certificate required for SI selling purpose.
Okay.
That can be taken up directly with Sophos separately. So we will answer that, Mr. Paresh, separately on that. Okay, if you're planning to be a SI for Sophos, or you want us to give you a certificate, I will give you a personal call and talk to you on this.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
Yeah. Thanks.
quickly, I'll share my screen and we'll start the Kahoot quiz. So what you have to do is just open your mobile or or a laptop browser and access this particular URL www.kahoot.it. Okay, this is the URL which you need to access, or if you have mobile, then you can install Kahoot app as well from Play Store. But instead of installing the app, just simply access this URL in your browser www.kahoot.it. Once you visit the website, just enter the game pin as 459409. This is the game pin, and then give a respective name. Make sure you give a correct name so that we can identify the winners. Basically, in Kahoot quiz, we'll have some questions based on the presentation which we have conducted. Few simple questions, and there will be 4 options or some true or false questions as well, and you have to give correct answer plus within a as quick as possible. So it's a kind of quickest answer will get maximum points, and it should be correct one as well. And depending on that, we'll have a leaderboard. We'll have 3 winners, right, Amita?
Yes, Vishal.
Okay. So we'll wait for a few more people to join in. We have got total around 20 plus audience, so we'll wait for others to join. Just simply access this URL, kahoot.it, and then enter the game pin and your respective name. We have got 10 people connected. Okay, doesn't seem like other people's joining. So, okay, we got one more entry.
So any
Should we-
challenge people are getting? I don't know. Yeah, we can start. Much.
Okay, yes. Let's start with the first question. Now you will see total question on the screen, and you will have four answers in your app or in your browser. Okay, so the first question is, what are the key components of cybersecurity? Technology, people, process, or all of the above. You have to give correct answer. You will have around 20 seconds to give the correct answer. Okay, so 5 people have given the correct answer. That is all of the above. Obviously, key components of cybersecurity is technology, people, and process. All right. Now let's see the leaderboard. So Murli is on top, following with Ashok, Gandhi, Nitesh, and Ashish. Okay. Coming to the second question. Suppose central email security can protect on-prem Exchange server as well as cloud email solutions. Is it true or false? Okay, so yeah, 9 people have given correctly. Yes, suppose central email security can protect your on-prem Exchange server as well as cloud email solutions. Murli is still on top. Okay, coming to the third question. Losses from business email compromise attacks in 2023 is 1 million, 1 billion, 2.9 billion, or 2.9 million. I think I have covered it, right? The loss happened due to business email compromise. Okay, so the correct answer is 2.9 billion. Okay, that's the average loss happened due to business email compromise. Okay, Murli is still on top. Ashok is jumping in.
Yeah, they're equal, I think, both of them.
Right. Now, Sophos provides a tab which console to centrally manage all the Sophos products. Is it Sophos Firewall Manager, Sophos Central, My Sophos, or none of the above? I think it should be easy one. Yes, so most of them given correctly. Sophos Central is a console to manage all the products. Murli is still on top. Good going. Fifth question. According to 2024 state report, what percentage of organizations were victim of the ransomware attack last year? 50%, 90%, 33%, or 66%? Okay, 66% is the correct answer. Okay, 66% of the organizations were victim of ransomware attack. Okay, Murli is not going to leave the position. Okay, true or false? So using Sophos email, admin can remove any message from user's mailbox if required. Specifically talked about this feature, which is recently launched. Yes, true. So admin can proactively remove or revoke the message from user's mailbox as well if required. Okay. The feature is called as clawback. Okay, Murli, followed by Ashish, Gandhi, Nitesh, and Ashok Kumar. Second last question. Suppose central email advanced licenses are based on per device, per domain, per mailbox, or none of the above. It should be an easy one. Okay, yes, per mailbox is the correct answer. So, as I said, simple licensing, single SKU, and licenses are based on per mailbox. Okay, no changes. Coming to the last question, true or false? Suppose email doesn't support email DLP and email encryption. Read the question correctly. Email doesn't support email DLP and email encryption. Is it true or false? Okay, that's the false statement. Suppose email does support email DLP and encryption, right? So if you have email protection installed, you can use email DLP and encryption as well. So yeah, let's see the winners. On third position, we have Gandhi S. On second position, we have Ashish. And on first position, we have Murli. Right.
Wow, congrats to all.
Congratulations to the winners.
Okay, that's it from my side. Any closing statements from Sohelji, Rohan, or Amita?
Yeah, I think we would like to thank all of you for attending this session, and we really hope that it was, it will help you. It was really an informative session. We have already displayed our email IDs, contacts. You can contact us. Okay, and we will also leave with you a recording of the session so that you can go through any questions after that. Our team might try and reach you, so please talk to them. That's it, I think. Thanks a lot. Amita, you want to say anything?
No, thank you so much, Sohelji. Thank you, Vishal, for such an informative session. And congratulations to all the winners. So, Sohelji, I'll share the voucher details with you so you can further, forward the vouchers to all the winners.